Okay, let's talk about choosing faith over fear. I have a two-step process that I'm going to share with you on this video, but what I want to get at is this. We are always presented with moments in our lives, daily even, where we have to choose either faith and just really trust that things are happening exactly the way they're supposed to, or we can choose fear. And this can be on a collective level, right? When we're looking around and we see things in the news or in the world that might be jarring or unsettling, and we can go right into fear and we can go right into scarcity and we can start to build out action plans rooted in fear, or we can really just anchor in and choose faith. Now, I've always been somebody who has been able to choose faith, but it takes time and it's a process because fear is powerful, fear is strong. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how I was able to sort of befriend my fear, is what I call it. And I'm going to share with you the technique that I use whenever I've been faced with any kind of fork in the road, or a time when I've had to take a leap of faith. I've made career pivots. A lot of you will ask me, how did you know to leave a job? Or how did you grow a big following on TikTok? How did you grow a following on Instagram and on Substack? Like what does that look like? And so I'm the most unlikely person to actually have a following and a large audience. So let me just start there, because I don't research these things. I don't have any sense of like algorithms or timing or like what works and what doesn't. I don't love marketing. So I'm going to share with you why I believe the only reason why those things happened was because of the inner shifts that I made and not anything on the outer. So let's go back to this idea of choosing faith over fear. In theory, it sounds quite simple, right? But if you think of yourself in any given moment in your life when you're like, I desperately want to do that, but I cannot because, and you sort of fill in the blanks of all the reasons why you can't, all the reasons that keep you safe, but you're kind of looking at that out there as this distant thing that you desperately hope for one day or want. So the only way we can really welcome in something new, or the thing we might be dreaming about or thinking about or calling in or wishing for, anytime that feeling washes over me, comes over me, or I get hit with something, I immediately know when I'm facing that fear or resistance, which is the part that says, I can't because, what I really need to do in that moment is sit and look at what do I need to release in order to welcome. And that's my two-step process. So anytime I'm faced with resistance or fear, the first place I go is, what am I being asked to release? And then in that releasing, I am creating and making space to usher in and welcome in whatever the new is. So anytime you're sitting in resistance, anytime you're feeling that tug of like, oh, I wish I could do that, but, and we're always kind of staying stuck in that but, and then the reasons why we can't, I want you to really stop and just go back to that idea of like, what is this moment actually asking me to release in order to welcome? Releasing and welcoming. It's really this yin and yang, this ebb and flow. And once you get comfortable with this practice, it becomes so much easier. So let me give a personal example. So I did not have social media at all when my children were younger. And I got on Instagram, I think when I was 38. And just for context, I'm 45 now. I'll be 46 this year. And I didn't get it. I still don't get it. But I was curious and I just found it all very fascinating. And then shortly thereafter, in my early 40s, somebody said to me, you should really be on TikTok and you should be doing videos on TikTok. Now at that time, I had no understanding of TikTok, and all I knew was it's for kids, like it's for my teenagers, it's for my teenagers' friends. It felt very distant from me. So again, back to that idea of like, I'm presented with something, immediately resistance is showing up. Like, I'm not doing that. How embarrassing. I will be judged. People are going to say, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? Who gets to do this at this age? Go on social media and act like you're an influencer. Like all the things came through, right? You're 40 something years old. You don't need to be going on TikTok. And that was the part of me that said, I can't because, right? So then I asked myself, well, you want to grow this audience. You want to create community. You want to be able to offer, guide, and share. You want to be able to support people through different challenges in their lives. I have the capacity to do that. So in order to do that, I do have to show up to some extent. I'm not going to just get plucked out of nowhere. I do have to stand up somewhere and say these things so people can hear the message or hear the words or maybe feel supported by whatever that might be. So then I'm looking at, well, what do I want to welcome in? I do want to welcome in this new unknown, see what it would feel like to be in this space. So then what do I have to release? So then you go back and you look at that idea of like what needs to be released. And for me, it was, well, gosh, wouldn't it feel so cool to welcome in this new goodness and to just see what would happen and to stay curious and creative and just play and see what that would feel like? And then am I really going to hold on to not doing it because of maybe being judged, maybe feeling embarrassed, maybe people saying, what is she doing? You're in your 40s. Am I really going to let my age limit me? Like, am I done growing? No, I'm not. I'm not done evolving. I'm not done learning. I'm not done exploring. So with that, with time and practice and a lot of guidance, I released and purged. And every time those thoughts came over me, I would just observe them and I would watch them. And then I would just lovingly release them. And over time, things started to happen. And I started to welcome in the new. And this community grew and people started to come and people started to say, can I work with you? And then my schedule started to get full. And so one thing leads to another, but it was only because I made that inner shift that allowed for those external shifts to happen. So I hope that finds you and speaks to you in some way. Stay tuned. I will continue this series, and thank you so much for being here.